auspicious invocation, auspicious beginning. And we can see that these Sanskrit prayers actually carry something tangible. I was listening to my spiritual master speak yesterday, and he said he was speaking to a gentleman from Cornell University, I believe either Cornell or Stanford, who has dedicated his whole life to studying the effect of mantra on the consciousness. And so we see that even in secular society now, they're more and more becoming aware of the power of sound vibration. Srila Prabhupada would say, just like a radio signal, you can hear it broadcast from thousands of miles away. So similarly, the spiritual vibration, Shabda Brahma, is descending from the spiritual platform, and it elevates our consciousness to that plane. And we can feel it, right? Chanting the mantra, we feel like, wait a second, I'm entering into a different dimension of what I'm used to. The three modes of material nature, pretty much the same stuff going on everywhere. But the transcendental vibration brings us to a higher consciousness. So thank you all for being here. It is definitely not one of the days that somebody would want to leave their home, and what to speak of leave their home to come and hear spiritual sound vibration. So you're all great souls. And I wanted to touch on a few various points today. I wanted to start with reading the Gita-Mahatmya. And this is a glorification of the Bhagavad Gita that's found in, Srila Prabhupada included it in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. And the reason why I want to read this Gita-Mahatmya is because what happened on December 1st this year? Gita Jayanti, yes. And what was that?
It was the speaking of Bhagavad Gita.
The speaking of the Bhagavad Gita, yes, the advent of Bhagavad Gita, which Krishna spoke to Arjuna 5,000 something years ago. And so, I was hearing His Holiness Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj, and he said December is the month of the Gita. And so we can celebrate the Gita the whole month. Of course, we can celebrate Gita every single day, but specifically we can hear the glories of Bhagavad Gita. And Srila Prabhupada made it so easy for us to dive into this amazing transcendental literature. And here's a glorification of the Bhagavad Gita here in the introduction. So, Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. Gita Shastram idham punyam yapatet prayatat pumam. If one properly follows instructions of Bhagavad Gita, one can be freed from all the miseries and anxieties of life. Who would like to be freed from all the miseries and anxieties of life? Yes? Bhagavad Gita is the answer. I was hearing just this morning, right now the BBT is doing the Live to Give marathon. So there is a effort all over the world to distribute 4.6 million Bhagavad Gitas. 4.6 million. And so one devotee was saying, she was going up to people saying, this book teaches you how to get free from anxiety and miseries. And so they were like, wow, this is some good stuff. And then there was Ambarishi Maharaj, who is stationed in Russia. He said after Putin visited India recently, and Modi gave him a Bhagavad Gita, and they snapped that picture, and it went all over. He said that in Russia, people were just going crazy. He said online they distributed just the day after that picture was taken 500 Bhagavad Gitas in Russian. And he said they were going out on the street and people were stopping them. Do you have that book that they gave to Putin? So, just see. Bhagavad Gita mania. Bhaktya sokhadi varjitam. One will be free from all fears in this life, and in one's next one's next life will be spiritual. Gita-Mahatmya 1. There's also a further advantage. Gita-yana silasya pranayama parasya cha naiva santi hi papani purva janma kritani cha. If one reads Bhagavad Gita very sincerely and with all seriousness, then by the grace of the Lord, the reactions of his past misdeeds will not act upon him. Gita-Mahatmya 2. And then Srila Prabhupada goes on to quote, the Lord says very loudly in the last portion of Bhagavad Gita, 1866. This is a verse we hear very often. Sarva dharmam parityaja mamekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva bhabebhyo moksha ishami mahasuchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Thus the Lord takes all responsibility for one who surrenders unto him. And in this regard, it is a very nice verse which I have here, so I'll share with all of you. Let's see here. Verses to learn. And this verse can be found in where did it go? Verses to learn. Uh-oh. Okay, here it is. So this is from the Ramayana, and it's quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it says here, it's in the Madhya Lila, chapter 22, verse 34. Sakrit evar prano yas tava smiti chayachate abhayam sarvadha tasmai tadham yeta britam mama. And this is Lord Ramachandra declaring. So this is as much as a 100% guarantee as you can have. Actually, in this world, the only thing that's guaranteed is death. Everything else can come or cannot come. But here is a guarantee being made by Lord Ramachandra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself. He says, it is my vow that if one only once seriously surrenders unto me, saying, my dear Lord, from this day I am yours, and prays to me for courage, I should immediately award courage to that person, and he will always remain safe from that time on. That's the best 100% guarantee you can get. 1000% return on your investment. Unlimited return. Thus the Lord takes all responsibility for one who surrenders unto him, and he indemnifies such a person against all reactions of sin. Mala nimotanam pumsam jala snanam dine dine sakrit gita mritta snanam samsara malanasanam. One may cleanse himself daily by taking a bath in water, but if one takes a bath even once in the sacred Ganges water of Bhagavad Gita, for him the dirt of material life is altogether vanquished. Gita-Mahatmya 3. Gita Sugita Kartavya Kim Anyay Shastra Vistarai Yat Swayam Padhammanam Bhasya Mukha Padma Vinishrita. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. One need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activities that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literatures. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice, because it is the essence of all Vedic literatures, and especially because it is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Gita-Mahatmya 4. As it is said, Bhartam Ritta Sarvasam Vishnu Vaktrat Vinishritam Gita Gango Dakam Pitva Punar Janma Navidyate. One who drinks the water of the Ganges attains salvation. So what to speak of one who drinks the nectar of Bhagavad Gita? Bhagavad Gita is the essential nectar of the Mahabharata, and it is spoken by Lord Krishna himself, the original Vishnu. Gita-Mahatmya 5. Bhagavad Gita comes from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Ganges is said to emanate from the lotus feet of the Lord. Of course, there is no difference between the mouth and the feet of the Supreme Lord, but from an impartial study we can appreciate that Bhagavad Gita is even more important than the water of the Ganges. Sarvo Panishadho Ghavo Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Parto Vatsa Sudhri Bhokta Dugdham Gittamritam Mahat. This Gita Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, the essence of all the Upanishads, is just like a cow. And Lord Krishna, who is famous as a cowherd boy, is milking this cow. Arjuna is just like a calf. And learned scholars and pure devotees are to drink the nectaring milk of Bhagavad Gita. Gita-Mahatmya 6. Ekam Shastram Devaki Putram Gitam Eko Devo Devaki Putra Eva Eko Mantras Tasya Nanamiyani Karman Yekam Tasya Devasya Seva. Gita-Mahatmya 7. In this present day, people are very much eager to have one scripture, one God, one religion, and one occupation. Therefore, Ekam Shastram Devaki Putram Gitam. Let there be one scripture only, one common scripture for the whole world, Bhagavad Gita. Eko Deva Devaki Putrameva. Let there be one God for the whole world, Shri Krishna. Eko Mantras Tasya Namani. And one hymn, one mantra, one prayer, the chanting of his name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Karman Yekam Tasya Devasya Seva. And let there be one work only, the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now I want to take us to another section of the Bhagavad Gita, to the 10th chapter, which is entitled The Opulence of the Absolute. Now, who is familiar with the Catur-Sloke Bhagavad Gita? Any hands? Maharajas? Anyone else? So Catur-Sloke means the 4 essential verses of the Bhagavad Gita. That within these 4 verses, it contains the whole essence of Bhagavad Gita. So, and they are, for those keeping score, Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, verse 8, 9, 10, and 11. These are the 4, Catur-Sloke. So, if you don't learn any other verses in the Bhagavad Gita, but if you learn these 4, you'll get the whole essence. So we'll go to one of the verses, verse number 9 of the Catur-Sloke, which is a very beautiful verse, and you could say it's apropos for what we're doing today, sitting here and hearing about Krishna, and how the reason why we've all come here is because somehow or other we've gotten some taste. Otherwise, what is the purpose of coming and sitting in this place in the middle of this town and on this snowy night, cold and snowy, and I can do so many better things with my life, but why have I come here? It's because you're developing some taste for hearing Krishna Katha. And because you're developing this taste, well, as a result of developing this taste, your soul is being, your true self, the true I, is being nourished. And that is what keeps us coming back and back for more. Because we look around this world and we try to get that taste, but it's like it's missing everywhere. But when we come and hear about Krishna, it's like, refreshing. So the verse is, Machita makata prana bodhayantas parasparam kathayantas chamam nityam tusyanti cha ramanti cha. And Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. The thoughts of my pure devotees dwell in me. Their lives are fully devoted to my service, and they derive great satisfaction and bliss from always enlightening one another and conversing about me. Purport. Pure devotees, whose characteristics are mentioned here, engage themselves fully in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Their minds cannot be diverted from the lotus feet of Krishna. Their talks are solely on the transcendental subjects. The symptoms of the pure devotees are described in this verse specifically. Devotees of the Supreme Lord are 24 hours daily engaged in glorifying the qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. Their hearts and souls are constantly submerged in Krishna, and they take pleasure in discussing Him with other devotees. It's 10:9, chapter 10, verse number 9. And we're now going into the second paragraph of the purport. In the preliminary stage of devotional service, they relish the transcendental pleasure from the service itself. And in the mature stage, they are actually situated in love of God. Once situated in that transcendental position, they can relish the highest perfection, which is exhibited by the Lord in His abode. Lord Chaitanya likens transcendental devotional service to the sowing of a seed in the heart of the living entity. There are innumerable living entities traveling throughout the different planets of the universe. And out of them, there are few who are fortunate enough to meet a pure devotee and get the chance to understand devotional service. This devotional service is just like a seed. So Prabhupada, many times in his purports, he's actually quoting verses from other scriptures. So this particular section that I just read, that last few sentences, is from a verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavana Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. So this Brahmanda means the universe. And is described as 14 planetary systems. And Maharaj can get more in detail if you like. If you like to dive deeper into that, there is the Srimad Bhagavatam, and we can get more into the universe and how it's situated. But it's saying that Brahmanda, the within the universe, the souls, there's innumerable souls that are just traveling. But if one is a Bhagyavana Jiva, a fortunate soul, and he comes in contact with the devotee, he gets the seed, the Bhakti Lata Bija, the seed of Bhakti sown within his heart. So this is what Prabhupada is saying here. And if it is sown in the heart of the living entity, and he goes on hearing and chanting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That seed fructifies, just as the seed of a tree fructifies with regular watering. The spiritual plant of devotional service gradually grows and grows until it penetrates the covering of the material universe and enters into the Brahma Jyoti effulgence of the spirit in the spiritual sky. In the spiritual sky also, that plant grows more and more until it reaches the highest planet, which is called Goloka Vrindavan, the supreme planet of Krishna. Ultimately, the planet takes shelter under the lotus feet of Krishna and rests there. Gradually, as a plant grows, fruits and flowers, that plant of devotional service also produces fruits, and the watering process in the form of chanting and hearing goes on. This plant of devotional service is fully described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19. It is explained there that when the complete plant takes shelter under the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, one becomes fully absorbed in love of God. Then he cannot live even for a moment without being in contact with the Supreme Lord, just as a fish cannot live without water. Wow. Just as a fish cannot live without water. And that is our actual position. The soul is meant to be within the spiritual energy. And due to being within the material world, we're like a fish out of water. Or one is like a fish out of water. We're practically drowning in the air. Or drowning on land. Does a fish drown on land? It's interesting. You can drown on land as a fish. So we're drowning in the material world, actually. Because the water, the real nectar of the soul, is the spiritual energy. So that is why when we make that connection, we start to feel nourished. We start to feel like, oh, I can breathe again. Just as a fish cannot live without water. In such a state, the devotee actually attains the transcendental qualities in contact with the Supreme Lord. The Srimad Bhagavatam is also full of such narrations about the relationship between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. Therefore, the Srimad Bhagavatam is very dear to the devotees, as stated in the Bhagavatam itself. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Amalam Yat Vaishnavanam Priyam. In this narration, there is nothing about material activities, economic development, sense gratification, or liberation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the only narration in which the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord and his devotees is fully described. Thus, the realized souls in Krishna consciousness take continual pleasure in hearing such transcendental literatures, just as a young boy and girl take pleasure in association. So this is the secret. Coming together with other devotees and hearing and chanting about Krishna. And what we're creating here can be replicated anywhere in the world, actually. And the spiritual vibration in and of itself is fully potent to spread the Krishna conscious movement. And Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada writes that he is the father and the inaugurator of the Sankirtan movement. And we have here Nimai Nitai. So Lord Chaitanya now is just, and Lord Nityananda, they're just having their dinner right now. But Lord Chaitanya fully empowers devotees all over the world to expand the Sankirtan movement. And anybody, anywhere can plug in to the transcendental energy. And in my personal reading, I've been reading the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which, for those that don't know, they're there, those golden books on the bottom shelf. That is the life and teachings of Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, a combination of Radha, Krishna. Is there some? No? Okay. Combination of Radha and Krishna in one. And Lord Chaitanya came to show us how to be devotees of Krishna. And at the same time, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna himself. And he empowers those who want to take responsibility. That means the ability to respond, to expand the Sankirtan movement. And in my personal reading, I'm currently in the Antya Lila, which is the later pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. And there's one particular section there in the second chapter which reveals how Lord Chaitanya personally empowers devotees. There's a devotee of Lord Chaitanya named Nrsimhananda Brahmachari. And there's another devotee of Lord Chaitanya named Shivananda Sena. And Nrsimhananda Brahmachari, he was empowered to preach in Bengal, West Bengal. And so, he was preaching to large crowds of people. And it is described there by Krishna Das Kaviraj, who is the writer of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that Nrsimhananda Brahmachari was empowered with the special potency of Lord Chaitanya. And so, there's another devotee of Lord Chaitanya, Shivananda Sena, who was doubtful. He said, is this really the case? Is Nrsimhananda Brahmachari really empowered by Lord Chaitanya? I have a doubt, but I will go to see him. But I have these two doubts in my mind. Well, I have this doubt in my mind if he's really empowered. And if he's really empowered, then these two things will happen. The first thing is that Nrsimhananda Brahmachari will call me to come and speak to him. And the second thing that will happen is he will tell me what mantra I'm chanting. And so he went to this big crowd, big pandal, imagine 10,000, 15,000, 20,000. This is when Prabhupada was doing pandals in India. It was crowds of 30, 40, 50,000 people. And so Shivananda Sena had this thought in his mind. Jai, Nimai Nitai Ki Jai. And so when he arrived, where Nishingananda Brahmachari was giving his talk, Nishingananda Brahmachari immediately called out to 4 men. And he said, "Bring me Shivananda Sena." So it said that multiple men went out into the crowd yelling, "Where is Shivananda? Where is Shivananda? Nishingananda Brahmachari is calling you." And so he was in shock. Oh, okay. So he went to Nishingananda Brahmachari, he bowed down before him, offered his obeisances. And then as soon as he got up, Nishingananda Brahmachari looked at him, he said, "I know you have this doubt in your mind." And he said, "The mantra you are chanting is the Gopal mantra." And he was like, whoa, okay. He's empowered by Lord Chaitanya. And so Srila Prabhupada explains in that section that we all have the ability to plug in. It's just a matter of taking a stand. I will be a servant to Lord Chaitanya. Advaita Charya has a beautiful prayer. Advaita Charya, he's part of the Panchatattva. For those that don't know, we depict him, he's depicted with a beard on the left side in that picture that's on the left of, he's to the right of Lord Nityananda, Nimai, Nitai. And Advaita Charya says a beautiful prayer. He says, Chaitanya Radhasa Mui Chaitanya Radhasa. Chaitanya Radhasa Mui Tandra Dase Radhasa. He says, I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya. I am a servant of Lord Chaitanya and a servant of his servants. So by cultivating this mentality, this attitude, we attract the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, we attract the mercy of Krishna, we attract the mercy of the previous acharyas, and we can pray to be an instrument in their hands. That anywhere we are in this world, we can start a namahata, we can start a bhakti rickshaw, we can turn our home into a temple. Because this, what is this temple made out of? Wood, sheetrock. Well, this house is made of brick, but some has shingles on the outside, some wood, whatever. But it can all be transformed if used in the service of Krishna. And that is what we are meant to do. As Krishneta Swarupoi, Jiveta Swarupoi Krishneta Nityadas. That is the eternal position of the living entity, is to be a servant of Krishna. So once the living entity, the jiva, again plugs in to its actual occupation, it begins to feel like everything is alright. The soul begins to feel like, okay, I'm back in the water and I can start to swim and breathe again. And then by giving other people an opportunity to again swim and breathe again, we are more and more recognized by the Lord. So it can be done anytime, but especially this month, I think, to make an extra effort. Devotees all over the world are going out. This is dubbed the Christmas Marathon, the Srila Prabhupada Marathon, where devotees make an extra effort to share Krishna consciousness with others. And the first person to start with is the person you see in the mirror. Share it with yourself. Read the Bhagavad Gita, chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, a fixed number of rounds. And by associating every day with the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna actually says in the Bhagavad Gita, and we'll enter this verse as evidence. Chapter 18, verse number... Let's see if I got my verses, my shlokas in line. Yes, verse number 70. Krishna says, and I declare that he who studies this sacred conversation of ours worships me by his intelligence. So this is a very good thing to do. Utilize the intelligence that we have in worshiping Krishna by reading the Bhagavad Gita. There's a very exclusive club, and I'm inviting everyone to join today. I challenge everyone to join this club. It's called the Chad Club, chapter a day. And the way you can participate in this club is that every day you pick up the Bhagavad Gita and you read one chapter. Now, the way the chapter is done is you can read either the Sanskrit or just the English translations, and it'll take no more than 10 minutes. Does everyone have 10 minutes in a day? Who has 10 minutes? Yeah? Yeah? Okay. So if you do this every single day, Krishna will notice. As they surrender out to me, I reward them accordingly. Krishna says. So he's in the heart, Paramatma. He knows what we're doing better than we know what we're doing. So if we utilize our senses, our mind, our intelligence, and try to serve Krishna in that way, we will be empowered. Tesam satatayuktanam bhajatam pratipurvakam dadhami buddhayogam tam yena mamupayantite. Again, from the Catur-Sloke. This is the next verse from the verse we read today. It says, to those who are constantly devoted to serving me exclusively with love, I give the intelligence by which they can come to me. So, rest assured, Krishna will empower your intelligence and guide you on the way back home, back to Godhead. And let's take as many people as possible with us. It's a big old party. The Sankirtan party, Nitya Leela, is going on right now. We just got to plug in. Okay. So now we'll open it up for any reflections. A reflection is something that you heard in the class that you feel that was useful for you, or any questions. Yes. Yes, Rule.
Wait.
We have to. If you don't say it in there, it doesn't count.
I have a question, Prabhu.
Yes.
So in that Bhagavad Gita verse, chapter 10, when we enter the spirit,
that verse means the one we read.
Chapter,
or the
verse
one
9.
I just recited, verse 9. Okay.
Verse 9.
Got it.
So in the purport, when Prabhupada was speaking about entering the spiritual world, does that mean like when we enter there, we continue to fructify the seed of bhakti? Do we go up higher in the planets until we reach Goloka Vrindavan, or is it?
Well, this is a very elevated question, but from my understanding and from what Srila Prabhupada has described, we all have an eternal position in the spiritual world. So once you reach the spiritual world in your spiritual body, you'll be situated wherever you are eternally. So like if you're already, if let's say you go into the spiritual planets, you'll be perfectly placed where you belong. Okay. Is that good?
Yeah, that is good.
Jamuna Prabhu. Okay. I better get ready for this one.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
So, in the story you give about Shivananda Sena,
Yes.
doubting whether the devotee was empowered
Yes.
by Lord Chaitanya, so we also share that doubt.
Yeah.
Whether we as devotee, or the devotee are empowered, what that empowerment is. And also from the thing you quote from, I think was Ramayan, that anyone who wants say that I have surrendered unto you, right, is saved by the Lord. The Christians also have this kind of mentality. If you just say once that you're saved by Christ, you're good. At one of my workplace, I had my beat, I was always chanting, I would walk all over the place. People report me to my boss. My boss said, he does that and he does his work too. So I would chant. So one the person come and say, why you're always, praying and chanting and stuff. So I say that, we just got to say that we're saved by Christ and that's it. We don't have to do anything else. So the same thing here with Lord Ramachandra saying that even if one thing, then there is doubt there. So how can we reckon with that doubt?
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understood your question correctly. Your question, if I understood correctly, is there's a doubt that if we have to engage in sadhana, like in a practical practice of devotional service, or if we just say, Krishna, I'm surrendered unto you, that's it, we don't have to do anything else.
Well,
Okay. Maybe if you can give me the question in one sentence.
Okay. So maybe for others who are not devotee, who are not dependent on God, they hear these things and or even devotee have some doubt about that. So how can you deal with that doubt?
Okay, so the doubt would be, do I have to, or is it really true that God will save me if I surrender to Him?
That these things have that potency, that meaning. One time you say,
Got it. Okay. Well, it takes faith. And I was just hearing this morning that Jiva Goswami says that the ultimate evidence will be our tasting that thing. So, for example, Srila Prabhupada would say that the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. He would say, if you chant this mantra and you follow these principles, you will feel happy. You will feel your misery is going away. And actually, Rupa Goswami describes in the Nectar of Devotion, which is another book, it's up on the top shelf, all the way to the right, there, somewhere I saw it earlier. Nectar of Devotion, I think, is on the top over there. Yeah.
Not all the way to the right.
Oh, almost all the way to the right. And so he describes that when we start to engage in devotional service, the first thing that happens is Klesh Agni. Am I saying that right, Maharaj? Klesh Agni? Klesh Agni, which means the miseries are eradicated from my life. So this is something practical that you can see. And then Shubhada, which means that our life becomes auspicious. So we can say, try it for yourself, and you will see. Miseries go, auspiciousness will come. And yes, it's also not that one just says, my Lord, yes, I'm yours, and then we go on doing all types of wrong things. That's actually one of the offenses that is described, that we commit sinful or wrong activities on the strength of chanting or glorifying the Lord. So if we're coming before the Lord saying, my Lord, you're so great, thank you for saving me, and then we go out and do something wrong, we're kind of counteracting we're blocking His saving power by kind of, giving, it's almost like slapping Him in the face. Yes, you're going to save me, so I'm just going to do whatever I want. So I think it's good to explain it in that way, that yes, the Lord will save us. And at the same time, we have a responsibility to follow His instructions. If we really want to love and know Him, He's given us instructions on how we should act and compose ourselves and organize our lives. So then one who actually wants to know and love God will attempt to align their life in such a way. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah? Okay. Hare Krishna. Yes. Chandra Mohan Prabhu.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Yes.
So when you talk about Lord Shri Krishna has said that devote yourself to me and then I will take care of you, right? And then in one of the verses, he also said that Hatova prapsasi swargam jittava mokshase mahim tasmat uttishta kaunteya yudhyaya krita nischaya. So, what should people actually do? I mean,
can you explain the verse maybe for people that don't know Sanskrit?
Oh, okay. So he said that do your act, whether you will die and attain heaven, or otherwise you will attain your prosperity in the world.
Right.
So that was the meaning of that.
When he's speaking to Arjuna.
Yeah, when he was urging to Arjuna. So when because the last verse which says that when God says, devote to me and then I will do the rest for you. So people somehow, foolish people like us, we try to see that, hey, let's not do anything and then just devote to God and He'll take care of me in this world, and then later on He'll take care of myself. So what exactly should a person like foolish people like us to take the message out of this whole
well, that's interesting. I like that last verse you just mentioned, and I think we can look at it
I think it's 237.
It's 922, the last one you just mentioned, that he'll carry what we lack. So we can look at that verse and see what Krishna actually says there. He says, Ananyas chintayantomam yayana prayupasate tesam nitya bhayuktanam yogakshema vaham yaham. So I think the first part is important, right? Because if we just look at the part where he says, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have, then people will say, okay, Krishna's going to take care. But he says here, but those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So therefore, I like to enter into evidence here the Damodar Leela. And so the Damodar Leela, it's a very interesting Leela. You're familiar with the Damodar Leela? Of course you are, yeah. So the Damodar Leela is the month of Kartik that we just celebrated, when Lord Krishna is bound by Mother Yashoda. And so in the process of Krishna being bound, it kept coming up 2 inches too short, or sometimes described 2 fingers too short. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the meaning of those 2 fingers. He says the first finger is our endeavor. So that means one has to make some endeavor in devotional service. And we see, in the case of Mother Yashoda, she actually had gone out to the rest of the gopis, had got more string to the point where she was sweating. Her sari was coming undone. It was just like so much effort she was making. And then Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions that the second finger is Krishna's mercy. And of course, that's the ultimate thing. But that endeavor also has to be there on our part. So if one thinks that they can just sit down and Krishna will do the rest, they're missing out on half of the work, or most of the work actually. Krishna is 99%, but we have to put that 1% effort. We have to show that we're serious and determined as well. And in that way, Krishna will reciprocate. As he says, as they surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So it isn't just a passive, I'm bhakti, Krishna will save me.
20 rounds and then that's it, right?
Yeah. That's why when one, at the time of initiation, and Srila Prabhupada, I was just hearing a lecture Srila Prabhupada was giving in Los Angeles in 1973. And this was in May 1973. It's a very nice series of lectures where Srila Prabhupada is speaking on the prayers of Queen Kunti. And if you look in the archives, Prabhupada does a morning walk every day. And in the morning walks, he's discussing with Sarup Damodar Goswami, who was a scientist. And Prabhupada is just smashing the scientists like anything. Smashing them. He says, look at this look at this Pacific Ocean. You know, who's controlling it to tell it to stop at that very point and to not go past that? Who is in control of that? And so, anyway, there Prabhupada was making the point. He said, you know, before the deities, before the Vaishnavas, you've taken this vow to chant your rounds and to follow the regular principles. So, you know, this is it's a very powerful process if applied properly. Hare Krishna. I hope that was okay. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, do we end here?
We have another
5-10 minutes. Okay. Any other questions?
I can ask one more.
Yes.
Yeah, let me give you the audience microphone.
Yes.
So, Prabhu, I have a question about this verse which Krishna says that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyudhanam adharmasya tadatmanam sajamyaham. So basically he says that whenever there is wrongdoings on the planet, then I take but in case when he incarnated as Lord Chaitanya, around that time there is I don't know what was the glani of, there was something going on around that, because I know about other avatars. There were some demons, something really messy was going on the planet.
Yeah.
But when he came as Lord Chaitanya, at that time it was not like that. So what was the actual, the purpose? I'm sure Sankirtana, just to make. So what do you think justifies this verse that yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata, when he incarnated as Lord Chaitanya?
Yeah. So as you pointed out, the Sankirtan movement,
Yeah.
and particularly Advaitacharya called for the descent of Lord Chaitanya, and she described that Lord Chaitanya comes in this age not to slay demons, but to slay the demoniac mentality. And so there's somewhere it is mentioned how in Satya Yuga, the demons and the devotees were on different planets. Then in Treta Yuga, the demons and devotees were on different continents. In Dwapara Yuga, the demon and devotees were in the same family. And out in Kali Yuga, the demon and devotee is in the same body. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya came with the holy name to kill the demoniac mentality. And that is Chaito Dharpana Marjanam, right? The Shishastakam begins with that prayer. Chaito Dharpana Marjanam means the cleansing of the mirror of the heart. So cleansing the 6 qualities: lust, envy, greed, anger, pride, illusion, false ego. So these are the things that need to be cleansed from the heart. And therefore Lord Chaitanya came with his astras. Krishnam harnam tusha Krishnam sango pangashtra parshadham yagyai sankirtane praye yayantihi sumedhasaha. So those who are intelligent in this age of Kali worship Lord Chaitanya, who has come with his associates and his astras, which is not bows and arrows and swords and clubs, but the holy names, which have the power to cleanse the heart, to cleanse these lower qualities from the heart. So that's what it is. It's cleansing the demoniac nature within each and every one of us. I know I look at myself in the mirror and just examining your mind. Well, I could say examining my mind. Crazy thoughts. I'm like, where is that coming from? It's just the mind is so polluted from billions and billions of lifetimes. Some scars that are just built up, and they're just like constantly just, different seeds of karmic reactions and thoughts. And so one has to slay all those demons within us. Hare Krishna. Okay.
Thank you. Time for art.
Time for article?
Okay.
Okay. Jai. Thank you so much, dear devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhishya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo. Srila Prabhupada.